Yay! Welcome, Simone. Hello, and how are you today?
G'day, Viv. As soon as we're down in Australia, I'm doing awesome. I'm actually doing really, really great.
You're looking pretty fantastic. So, thank you for jumping on because this whole what new reality is your body introducing you to? I have been hearing so many people recently are having kind of major stuff with their body, not like an ache or pain or a stubbed toe, but it's just really got me into the question of, so what is it? What are our bodies really doing their darndest, doing their absolute best to kind of wake us up to and gift us that amazing brilliance and phenomenons of the awareness that our body is communicating all the time. So I know you had a visit to the hospital recently, so that's why I wanted to interview you and ask you. So give us a little bit of what happened.
What was the local hospital like? Were they friendly? No.
What were the drugs like?
Apparently they were really good. Yeah.
You don't remember?
No, actually, I do remember being in the ambulance and okay, let's go. Let's reverse back slightly. Okay. So it was about 5 months ago and I was in London and I was facilitating advanced body class and I was having a great time, and okay, to be brutally honest here, here's the way I looked at it was I have been using access consciousness tools for 22 years, changing so many areas of my life. Body is probably one of the things that I've ignored a lot throughout my whole entire life. One of those things when you go, God, I wish someone would have told me this when in my 20s, but I wouldn't have listened. I would have just abused myself anyway. But, you're going to like to have these dreams that someone could have tapped me on the shoulder, and they probably did. And I was like, So I'm going to say probably in the past 6-7 years, I've taken more, I've been more aware of what my body's asking for. And I would have said getting to a new place with that. And when I was in London and facilitating this advanced body class, I had a really great morning. I got up in the morning, made a coffee, did some Pilates. I was like, feeling good in my body, everything. Got out of the shower. And if you're a tall person, you know what I'm talking about is lifting my leg onto a bench to dry myself. And my back just went. And it was the last day of class. So, and I love the way my body is and timing is, because if that was a day after, I wouldn't have taken it. It wouldn't have been so dramatic in my world. But because it was the last day of class and I'm lying on my bed, naked, I had a towel on me, naked. I was sharing an apartment with Francesca Fiantini, luckily. I had to Skype her to bring her in because I was like, I was like, Francesca, and she couldn't hear me. And I actually had to call some people over, and I ended up spending 2 days in bed, and I couldn't move, and I couldn't go to class, which was really quite devastating for me. But the key element here is I had this conversation with Gary Douglas because it was 3 a.m. in the morning for him, and I was calling him like pulling energy, just going, "You are waking up," and he did. And yes, potency that I am. And he did. And I'd spent a lot of time on the phone with him and asking me different questions. But one of the things when he said to me is, you can't go and facilitate class. And there was two things that showed up. Is one, I was relieved. And the other one was I was judging myself so badly. And he said, yeah, you're choosing from conflict. And I realized my body was so relieved that I wasn't going in to facilitate. But me, my being, I was like, I have to go. All these people are there. I have to be there. And one of the greatest gifts I got from that was how often I choose from conflict, from this and this. Like even it was 3 days prior. I was, Francesca is a friend of mine. We were out, looking at shops and then went and had lunch. I didn't want to go and have lunch, but I didn't say that to her. And I just went and had lunch with her. And I right at the end, I said, Francie, I have to go home. My body is just wanting to get out of here. And she was fine. She would have been fine if I said, let's not go to lunch. But when I got home and I spoke to Gary and he said, why did you go? I said, because it was Francesca. He said, but did your body want to go? And I said, no. And what I started to look at was how often I choose something based on the expectation of somebody else, the expectation I have of myself, like really the expectation I have of myself, and the force and the push of what I've decided I have to create, being an access consciousness facilitator, being in business, being all of that, rather than listening to my body. And I mean, there was one day during ABC, usually I would go, who do I have lunch with here that we can create and, work on projects? I love it, And there was one day and I went, you know what, I'm not going to lunch. I'm going to go lie in the park. And Laura Simmons went, do you want me to come around your bars? And I went, yeah, that feels really good. And I had an hour on my own and an hour with her. And I noticed the difference of this nurturing energy with my body. So after the London episode, and, there's a whole, friggin' story. I had to go down to Marseille, France and facilitate and stand up, and I couldn't sit down and and everything. But the piece I got from that was asking myself how often I choose from conflict rather than being in communion. And so fast forward, and I'm going to say, I was thinking, okay, I'm getting this, I'm changing this, And then the other week in Melania, I had this beautiful weekend, really out in nature, just gorgeous, friends, etc. And then woke up and was literally had my computer in bed with a coffee and stretched and went, my back tweaked, and, ended up in hospital in an ambulance on morphine and the green whistle and all that sort of stuff and codeine and all of it. But I got a CT scan, which was really great. I found out more information about my body. So very grateful for that. But I've had so many awarenesses from this. And one thing I would like to say to anyone who has stuff like this, that has had that, not just stubbing your toe, something, don't make it bad, terrible, and wrong. For me, it's a gift. And, one of my friends was saying, oh, this was terrible, this was awful, sort of thing, that I went through excruciating pain and everything there. And I said, but I'm not looking at it like that. I'm looking at it as this was a huge gift. And one of the things I did get from this is really being right at the beginning of this, Viv, you said, what are our bodies, telling us? I have no idea. And I don't think any of us do. I think we need to really indulge in destroying and uncreating everything that we've decided it is to have a body and what it is to be with this body, and be in question every single moment of, what is that and what next? And one of the greatest gifts I got from this event is relaxation in a much bigger way, Viv. Even today, the people I work with, my amazing koi, we were planning on something, and I noticed this energy in my body start to come up where I wouldn't have said stressed, but it's like this, okay, I've got to get this done, I've got to get this done, I've got to get this done, I've got to get this done. And I went, one of the tools I've been using is, instead of this doing energy and this contracted energy, is to go, what can I be here? And I just went, okay, what can I be here? And Liliana, one of the amazing people on my koi, which our koi is like a team of people, like conglomeration of idiots, had said to me, you know what, we could do this and change it. And I went, let's do that. What's going to be ease, joy, and glory? I don't have to do this big, long thing. I can do something that's a bit shorter. It feels easier on my body. And I noticed as soon as I even mentioned it to everyone, their bodies had more space. And I'm like, how often do we not choose for the space that our bodies, are asking us to choose from this total relaxation? It's a very humanoid thing to just push and force, and you're at the top of the mountain, but you're still trying to get to the top of the mountain, and you're at the top of the mountain. Enjoy the view.
I've just beautifully expressed. I've just been on a 2-day class with you about losing your definitions. If you want to change anything, lose your definitions. And, because I did, I know I said to you, I went through almost the exact same thing that you did in Poland on the last day of class. They had to stretch me away, and there was no finishing class, and the whole thing, air flights and airports and drugs and whatever else. And then quite a long period of regeneration. But something you said yesterday on the call, because like you were saying, it's well, for me, that was 6 years ago, and I had another 2 episodes, within a year of that. And I'm like, okay, what am I not getting? What's right about this? What's funny about this I'm not laughing about? But you gave me a massive part of it yesterday when you said, about creating space. It's not actually patience that you're after, it's space and having space. And I just left a 30-year relationship marriage, and literally the day I left, my back just completely let go. And when you talked about that level of force and push, because I'm like, I've got to do this. If I even buckle 1 millimeter, I'm going to turn around and go back to the marriage. And it's like, and I used so much force, and it was such an unkindness. And talk about conflict. It was like my body was saying, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do it this way. You can relax into it, and receive the contribution of what you're choosing, which was greater. So thank you for that.
That piece though, like you just said that, but it's gold. It's like, relax into what you're choosing, enjoy your choice. And it doesn't have to be busy. It doesn't have to be forced. It doesn't have to be push. It's like you were choosing to leave this, 30-year marriage. You knew that was going to create a greater possibility. Okay, cool. Now,
yeah. And I remember being so pissed at my body because I'm like, what? We're just about to fly. I was just it was like I was literally about to, heli ski or hang glide off this amazing cliff that I'd been climbing and climbing and building up to for months and months and months. And it was like, nope, straight to bed. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200, and I'm like, no, having a little tantrum and kicking my legs, but I couldn't move. I physically couldn't move my body. And so it was literally 5 weeks of flat on my back bed rest. So, now whenever I go through a major change or a transition, I'm like, body, will you show me the most ease-filled way to navigate this? Will you show me? Will you lead me? And I will do my best, like you're saying, not to be in conflict about, but I want to do this. And can you speak a bit more about that conflict too? Because you mentioned it yesterday in a way where your head was in conflict with your body.
Yeah. So I think I gave this example, and for me, it was really beautiful is, I was meant to be just coming back from Italy. I was meant to be going to Italy 2 days after this happened. And it was for Dane his maestro class. And, I canceled the ticket because I was like, I can't go. But in my head, I was like, well, I can still go. I can just go 5 or 6 days later. And Gary and Dane were so good. Because they just didn't say anything. They were like, and Dane said, I know you're going to choose what creates a greater possibility. And I'm really grateful. I thanked him too, because there was nothing in his world that was, bad, terrible, or awful if I didn't fly to Italy. He was like, hey, you've got to take care of your well-being and your body. And every day for 3 days, I was like, I wanted to go to Italy. I wanted to go to Italy. I wanted to go to Maestro. I wanted to see my friends. I wanted to go fabulous restaurants. I wanted to do this, right? And my body, I could hear it, was going, are you fucking kidding me? And I was like, okay. And that's when I realized that's how I've chosen so often. I would like this. My body's going, hey, like, no, but I was like this, and there was a separation. And I went, that's the conflict. Because if I chose this and I chose not to go based on, my body saying don't go, then I get to be pissed at my body. If I choose this based on I want to go no matter what, then I get my body is in pain. And I actually indulged in going, and I went, wow, it feels like I would just be going to class and then be like, and hobbling home back to the Airbnb and not actually really having this great time in Rome and being all the, it's like, wow, why would I fly that far for that, But I knew there was conflict. I knew there was separation. So I was asking for 3 days, what would it take to have this amalgamation and this communion of my request? And it was on like the 3rd day. I woke up and I was still lying in bed, and I went, there was this huge sense of peace in my world and in my body. And I went, oh, I'm not going to Italy. I was like, wow, that's what it's like to choose with me and my body. Okay. And the same thing today when I was, meant to make these 12 videos for something that we're doing, like a Christmas thing. And then I went, I'm starting to, I could literally feel my organs start to contract. And I wouldn't say I'm a stressed person, yet the way I have driven my body creates stress in the body, and I get the pain that the body's going, hey, stop it, you know. So I notice, and I'm noticing this tension, and I'm also noticing it in my, like, just below my just below my scapula, where it starts to like tighten like this. And I'm noticing this in the past 2 weeks, and I'm going, okay, breathe. Okay, so let's not do all of that. What can I be here? And that's one of the tools I've been using too, is just destroying and uncreating everything of where I'm currently functioning and asking, what can I be here? What can I be with this? Because we make things so important, Viv, that aren't important. Like, even, I know it sounds crazy, but it's like, I always think that I'm not, quote unquote, doing enough and I should be doing more. And it's like, are you kidding me? I'm like even my hairdresser today, yes, that's why my hair looks so beautiful, because this is not what I do. She does this. But even she said to me, you are so busy. She goes, I don't know how you handle all of these things. And do you know, people have said that to me for so long, and I take it with this, like, it's just normal. And now I'm starting to go, okay, hang on, what if I destroyed and uncreated my normal? And what have I been avoiding receiving from creating my life as that, rather than having this space and relaxation?
And that was another amazing space that opened up as well when you were talking about this yesterday, about what more can you receive when you're in that space of relaxation, you know, and that being is such an integral part of it. Because what I've played with in the last few days is, you know, just a tool that you gave yesterday, was every time I started to feel that rush and I started to think I haven't done enough, or I've got more to do, or I haven't crossed this off my list, you know, it was like, okay, what can I be here? What relaxation can I be? And just, you know, you also mentioned this about, I'm going to go and lie down for 10 minutes. And when I first got back up on my feet after being in bed for, you know, 5 weeks, you don't realize how quickly your muscles, like my feet were weak and my legs were weak. It was like, wow, you don't realize how quickly the body just, you know, changes itself when you're not physically moving. And just 10 minutes rest, my body'd let me get up for a little while. And then it was like, right, like you were mentioning about that tightening in your shoulder blades. As soon as I started to sense that twinge, it was like, okay, there's my red light on my dashboard saying that's my body communicating a very different reality. Hey, you need to relax, you know, just take 10 minutes, which for me was totally foreign. And, you know, and that whole, I'm lazy or I should be able to push through. And it's like, no. So this new reality that our body is introducing us to, you know, what more ease, what more peace, what more, and I mean true peace, like deep relaxation, and not tiredness where you don't want to get off the couch and do nothing, but just having that sense of space in your day, in your body. And how much more I created yesterday and got accomplished, you know, it was,
I know, isn't that's blowing me away too. But, and I also think it's like, what I'm going to ask is, if you're listening to this and any of this is ringing true in your world, it's like, don't judge what you are currently choosing. It asks to be aware of what you can change to have that space and relaxation. And one of the things, because I had to do a few different things today, and when I was driving around, I was like, I really, like, this is not like a 2-week gig to discover what relaxation is. This is like a 12, 18-month project. To discover what relaxation is. Because I realized, you know, it's like, we talk about relationships, okay? And, you know, relationships done different. And there was a term that we came up with called creationship. And the creationship means, because the word relationship literally means the distance between two things, right? So when we termed the word creationship, was more about being in communion and having these 5 elements of intimacy, which is gratitude, trust, honor, allowance, and vulnerability with somebody else, right? So we came up with this terminology, creationship. But then everyone started throwing it around like, oh, I'm in a creationship. And it's like, just because you say you're in a creationship doesn't mean it is a creationship. Like, ease, joy, and glory, like all of life comes to us with ease, joy, and glory, is the mantra of access consciousness. And sometimes this is really, it can get a little bit tough, like choosing these tools. And, you know, one of the things, I was leaving a message to Dane, you know, talking about this, going, for me at the moment, this leap that I seem to be on is really uncomfortable. And it reminds me of when I leapt many, many, many years ago using the Access Consciousness tools with money, when I was ignoring all of those tools and every other tool I was using was changing my life, and I was ignoring it. And I finally went, okay, I'm going to choose this. And I set myself this, target of 3 months to use the Access Consciousness tools with money to see if I could change my financial reality. And I did start to change it. And I, sat down after 3 months and looked at everything and went, okay, don't have a great deal of money, but I have a different sense of money and I had a different energy around it. And so I've been asking that with this, because I realized in the last few days, I've almost had this like expectation that I go, well, Simone, you didn't go to Maestro, you didn't go to Italy. So you stayed at home, you didn't have this busy schedule, but you got some things accomplished. You started relaxing, okay, tick. And it's like, it's not a tick. This is, and I'm realizing this is an exploration that I have to admit, I don't even, I'm a baby access with relaxation. I'm like, it's like yesterday I thought I was 2%. Now I'm like, I think I'm like 0.5% or maybe 1%, because there is something so much I think to be discovered here. But what I am choosing for myself is to really unravel this, lean into it in a different way. And I did today when I asked, I went, oh, I get like 12 to 18 months to truly be this. Okay, let's go, and what a journey with your body.
Yeah. And so for anybody wondering, it's like, well, how do you tap into relaxation? Just ask your body, ask nature to show you. I mean, going for a walk in the park or being with animals, or just like you were saying the other day about being on the beach, there's so much space around us. Wherever you're living in the world, there's always a place. You can look at a tree through a window, even in, wherever you are. So what is relaxation for you? What would it be like to relax into any major change, any transition that you're going through, and any big choices that you've got ahead of you, so you can be kinder with that transition?
I'm going to add something here just a little bit, because for someone like me, and I know there's a lot of people out there who really like movement and action sort of thing. So when you go, what is relaxation, and what can you do, and you even go to, there's a doingness to it. I'm going to go for a walk on the beach. I'm going to go for a hike, or I'm going to I'm going to request that if you want to play with this, break that down even more. Go to the beach and sit on the beach and don't walk, and just watch the waves. Don't necessarily go for a hike. Go sit in the bush and sit on the grass and just be with it, or your backyard, or your plants. Like for me, I'd go play with all my plants, water my plants. No, what if I just go and sit in my backyard, and I've got these frogs in my veranda, like 3 of them. And it's so funny when they all go off at different times. I'm like, this little chorus, this symphony. But it's like, but just go sit there and be with the plants and be with the frogs. Just be. And like, because we do define it. We go, oh, well, I just got a massage and I had a bath and I did this. Was it truly relaxation? And I don't have an answer here. It's just what I'm up for exploring.
Yeah, I often climb into my dog's bed and just stroke her. I just put my hands on her. And I remember the first day I got glasses, I put them on and I was completely mesmerized by every single hair and all the details in her face and her fur and everything. It was like, talk about being, it was like these glasses introduced me into being. I was like, wow, this is a whole new world. So yeah, thank you for that piece.
Yeah, I remember in Costa Rica, I could go ride my horse, which shows me a different sense of relaxation. But also quite often I would just go into the stall with her and just hang with her. That's a different sense of relaxation, is being with them. And they're like, hi, like it's a different energy. So yeah, I get excited. Which is great that I'm getting excited about it, because before I would have been frustrated about it because it didn't have a lot of doing or action in it. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for a phenomenal conversation, Simone. And thank you, everybody, for watching us. And what have you got coming up? I think you've got a gratitude call coming up. Is it tomorrow or the day after?
Yeah, I've got a few things coming up tomorrow morning at my 7 a.m. So Queensland 7 a.m. I've got a call coming up, which is called "What Would Happen If You Embraced gratitude. So, which is a whole good topic. And then the next day, I actually have a call coming up at 7 o'clock, which is a free call and is called "Is Your Body Your Friend or Your Foe?" So, and I've got lots of things. I've also got a 3-month membership starting in December called Hello Bodies, which I'm really excited about because I have no idea what this is going to be like. It's a call with me every 2 weeks, and we have energetic sessions and a whole lot of things. So it's a ridiculously good price too, actually. And I also had the three-day advanced body class in Noosa, Australia. So, and yeah, you can come from anywhere in the world to Noosa, Australia. It's summer, it's hot, it's beautiful. Let's do it.
And how much would your bodies love to be there as well? And this, I love the title of that, Hello Bodies. It's just got such a fresh energy. It's like, wow, you're meeting somebody for the first time. And I think for a lot of people that may be hearing this today, this might be a whole new conversation. It might be because it is a very different way of being with your body. Most people just drag their body around and, abuse it and feed it food and have sex with people that the body doesn't want. So this is very much about, like you're saying, those 5 elements of intimacy where you actually build and develop this level of trust and true vulnerability with your body. This is the one relationship you have with you for your whole life. So what relationship would you like to create with it?
Yeah. And like, as I, was saying the other day, you can have all the money in the world, a successful business, all of that, but their body's with you. Are you going to enjoy it? You got to look after your well-being.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, my friend, so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we will see you next time around. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.